It's interesting to see that origin story. um,
Yep, first
that's a
episode of Tales of the Jedi.
mm,
Yeah, yeah, not
interesting
bad.
that they started off with Ahsoka. Tano. Interesting.
Yep,
And
essentially they released the entire series all at once.
yeah.
Yep.
Hmm. And
So,
also, that's how they discovered that she was Jedi.
So
Yeah.
we know. Did we know this before that she was born in Takruta village?
yeah, because she is a tug reader.
But now, I mean, is this something new, or has this been always been,
Mm.
Well,
some
we kind of already knew that she was a tug reader,
right?
so she would have come from a tug reader village.
Mm.
But did we know that her mom was a skilled hunter?
This is probably the first time we've ever seen like the parents.
Yeah.
Puff tea.
Yeah,
Mm.
Interesting.
because they haven't mentioned the parents before.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that we get to see the younger version of Ahsoka Katana.
Mm.
1 year old,
Yeah, this baby.
and she already had a force connection.
Mm.
Similar to what the Gravy did as well.
Mm.
Even as a baby, she was able to calm down the creature long enough to return her to her village, riding on its back.
Mm.
And then the final line, right? Ahsoka is Jedi.
Yeah.
Which is different to what Ahsoka says. I am no Jedi.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well,
Mm.
just yeah, okay. True.
Mm.
But this is about her leading up to leading the Jedi way, so going to the temple.
Mm.
And for them to go into the temple, usually they have to cut all connections with the parents. So
Mm.
yeah, I think that's how they had to do it. Otherwise, we wouldn't know like the origin story at all.
Mm. And it's always interesting to see what the backstories of the Jedi's are, what their family was, what family they were from originally. Mm.
Yeah. So I'm interested into seeing what the other episodes are like, but maybe we should just do it 1 week at a time.
Yeah, I guess so. Just take our time.
Even though all the episodes are out now.
Mm.
Mm,
So yeah, I think we'll just watch Andor and then one episode of Tales of the Jedi.
yeah.
That would work.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess not too much to say about Tales of the Jedi other than hey, cool, interesting. Look
Mm.
at her as a baby.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, probably not much to know, just like a quick tidbit of information of who she actually was
Mm.
and her origins. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
Do
Mm.
we know whether the other episodes are focused on Ahsoka as well? Or
I think different tales of the Jedi.
are there other tales
So
about
there,
maybe her as a more adult version, Ahsoka?
but there,
We'll find out, but effectively we are going to see old characters returning, like Mace Windu and
mm.
Liam Neeson returning to voice Qui-Gon
Oh,
Jinn again.
cool.
But
Yeah.
Mace Windu is not voiced by Sam Jackson on this one.
Mm. So it is
Hmm.
possible that the tales would be kind of standalone as well, like that they're not necessarily going to follow on from the previous tale.
Yep,
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
not now. Similar
Well,
to, I guess this is similar to the I Am Groot series. They
yeah,
released them all at once, really shorts.
yeah. But I think it like just like with I Am Groot, they're standalone pieces, like each one.
Yep. So
But that's interesting because you get to see a little bit more of an insight into what their background is. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good start. Maybe we could get to our scores for Tales of the Jedi first before we go to Andor.
Yeah,
There's not much to say about Tales of the Jedi because it's like right there.
it is quite short, so
Yeah, and not much to say. It's like
Mm.
really,
Mm.
really good short story.
Mm.
So what would your scores be?
Sure. First for episode 1.
Yeah.
I don't know, 7. Yeah, that's me.
7?
I think
It's good
6.5.
enough.
It's okay, but I do wish that they put in a little bit more, I guess.
I mean,
you
the thing
I
is,
think-
for me, I don't think they can do much in 16
I know
minutes,
it's
right?
very short, right? But
Yeah.
it could have been better to, I guess, have a little bit more sort of a story.
Fleshed out story, yeah.
Yeah. But it was pretty good, like to see like what she was like and how early it was that the Force was kind of discovered.
Hmm.
That it was really like even when she was that young, only like as a 1-year-old, it was already something that her village knew about.
And Jeff looks like he's on the boat.
Oh, okay. Where are you at the moment? Are you
I'm on a ferry at the moment.
Ferry, yeah.
Yeah, very, yeah.
that's a nice thing.
Yeah, it's Hong Kong.
The,
Hong Kong Harbor.
Nice. You can tell that the background is moving, so you are on something that's moving.
Hey,
that's bobbing around.
you can tell?
Yeah, you could tell.
And well, you can see the water, so you know it's in the
Yeah.
water.
So Jeff, what's your score?
Yeah, what's your score?
Yeah, I think kind of similar. I think I'll give it 7. It's interesting. It's just follows on and the previous episode. Yeah, I think I'll just give it overall 7. Yeah.
I give this the first episode a 6. Really not much to say. Really good little backstory, which I do want to sometimes have it a bit more fleshed out. Like this one, really compact and or quite slow. But yeah, 6 for now. So let's get to the Andor.
I mean,
Episode 8.
Andor wasn't too slow, this one.
This one was slightly more interesting, but it was still kind of slow.
It's still kind of slow, but it's interesting. The whole workforce, what they got them to do,
Like the
and their
presentation.
routine and everything.
Yep. And we see outside of the prison and inside of the prison. So
Yeah.
it does seem like it's not a flashback as we thought. It's actually
it's not.
happening
No.
in the timeline.
Because of the fact that they, this was post. They were talking about the attack on the garrison in Aldani. So
Yeah.
that makes it clear that it is actually he was captured while he was trying to run away.
Yeah. So what we thought from the previous episode was incorrect.
Oh, did we think it was a flashback?
Yeah, we thought it was a flashback.
I thought it was a flashback because he did serve time in prison already before.
Maybe it was a flashback, and we might get back into that flashback later.
Well, this prison sentence definitely is not a flashback.
Yeah.
Because they were mentioning like where is he right now?
Yeah.
We get Biz and everyone. They're talking about like where is he? And he has information and he knows that guy, so something's going on.
What's really funny and ironic is the fact that they'd already captured him, but they just didn't know they had him.
Yeah, because he used a different name.
Yeah,
Chief.
it's so hilarious that they actually have already caught him. They just didn't realize it. So that's kind of funny.
Yeah, because they were saying we have to capture this guy because he killed people.
Yeah.
He's already in prison. Come on.
Yeah. Although the funny thing was what he was convicted for was something completely not a crime. Not, innocent, but he never got caught for the one that he did commit.
Yeah. That's absolutely
That's so funny.
ridiculous.
Yeah. But yeah, interesting that to see kind of as well that that they're sort of closing in a way. Like you can see the empire sort of overreaching, but also like even like with Dedra Miro and Korn, I guess they're sort of on the right path to kind of finding him.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And we get Saw Gerrera back as well.
And I was so happy to see him. I was like, yes, so Garrera. And now we can see how he's connected to Luthen. And yeah, so Luthen has been sort of supplying him with all these kind of weapons and equipment and stuff.
Yeah, I've been considering that we were talking about Saw Gerrera in the previous episode. We finally get it. So
yeah,
I guess we predicted right.
Yeah.
So Saw Gerrera was coming.
It's good to see him. And now we can sort of understand what Luthen is also kind of doing, that in a way he's kind of almost like some kind of arms dealer, like, you know. And yeah, very, very interesting to see that you know, his character is trying to do more to unite the Rebel Alliance. That yeah. And I don't know that guy that what was the character that he mentioned? I can't remember the name, but that's the one that he wanted Saw Gerrera to find and to work with. Is that
Yeah.
someone that we know from Rogue One? Because I don't think I've heard his name before.
I didn't think I've heard the name either,
Yeah,
but I think we might find out in a later episode.
yeah. I wonder what his role was later on. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting character.
Especially since we're predicting that the next episode would be more jam-packed.
Yes, right. It's like
Yes.
that pattern should continue.
Yeah. Thinking Saw Gerrera will probably change his mind at some stage. And maybe, you know, out of curiosity, perhaps he'll eventually.
And next episode might be a prison break.
Another prison break.
It would be interesting if there was a prison break. Yeah, that would be cool.
But then I guess the people outside would try to help
Mm,
him that is inside the prison.
mm.
There's some theories that Kleya is actually Leia. I guess that was what I was asking just now. Could Kleya be Leia? They sound kind of saying Kleya, Leia. So maybe I don't know.
We don't really know, especially the difference
Yeah.
in timeline between
Well,
But
see,
how
that's
would Kleya
exactly the
supposed to be?
question.
Obi-Wan and Andor.
That's exactly the question. Where is she during the timeline, right?
Because
Because Andor takes place 5 years before A New Hope.
right.
So that would put her in her early teenage years.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think like how old was she in Obi-Wan? She was 11.
So
And
this
then it's
so it is
Andor.
right in the middle.
So
Yeah.
Andor is about halfway through
Halfway exactly.
A New Hope and where Obi-Wan was. So maybe she is Leia. If like in terms of age, she looks about the right age to be, yeah, how old Leia should be.
Maybe it's yeah, you know, could be not, but
Not sure, yeah.
like who knows? They might be secretly hey, right in front of us is actually Leia.
That could be a big reveal later on.
It depends on the timeline, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, depending on how close it is between like Obi-Wan and Andor.
Yeah, interesting.
And also Andy Serkis, hey.
Yeah, Andy Serkis is recast.
I wasn't expecting to see him.
Because he was Snoke.
Yeah, but no one could recognize him as Snoke. But
and that's why they can bring him back as this prison boss.
Yeah.
But we know him as Andy Serkis because we know his face.
Yeah. But like I definitely wasn't expecting him to just pop up like this.
Yeah, so they recast him as Milo, is it? I think it was.
Mm.
Yeah.
So at least he's without the
Kino Loy.
whole
Yeah.
Kino, yeah.
CG, yeah. Kino, yeah.
Mm.
Kino Loy.
So very interesting to
Kino Loy.
come back in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, without the CG.
Mm.
Yeah, so he's playing two wholly distinct memorable characters in the Star Wars franchise.
Mm.
That's what you can do if you're a CGI character.
I
Yeah,
guess that's the
that
benefit.
works if it's a CG
It
character.
worked out. Yeah.
Too bad his characters did at Marvel though.
Mm.
Yeah, because he's also in Marvel. But his characters died.
Mm.
Yeah, well, he's also in DC, the Batman, right? As Alfred.
Yep, I know. A lot of characters playing
No,
multiple
it's
different roles.
funny to see
side
him
by side.
in so many different roles.
Well,
You
if you know Andy Serkis, he's like
Oh.
the king of the whole
LOTR.
3D
Yeah.
prosthetics.
Yes.
I mean, his big break was definitely Lord of the Rings.
Gollum, yeah.
Like that's gotta be the biggest break you can have.
And
Like,
Pretty big in Planet of the Apes as well.
yep,
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes.
Just
Yep,
gave
he's
him so
really
much.
good at CG.
Yeah. And just that opportunity just gave him so many more roles, like in
Yep.
future.
And Snoke, of course.
Mm. Yeah.
Good old Andy Serkis.
Mm.
Some Easter eggs. So Planet Belsavis, the ice world. So the prison planet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is quite interesting as well to see what the prison camps were like. It's definitely isn't what you kind of expect, I think.
Mm.
Like a labor camp kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a labor camp. Yes.
Mm.
The tungstoid steel, which is
Okay.
interesting. Yes, in the novel. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And this
wouldn't know that one.
circus returns. So he was, we mentioned already, Gollum,
Mhm.
Supreme Leader Snoke. There have been rumors of his return in Andor. And that's why some people say, hey, maybe Snoke might make an appearance. But no.
That would be really strange, right? But I don't know.
Different character. There's no connection. There can't be any
I don't
connection.
Probably not a connection.
Mon Mothma became a senator at 16. That's pretty young.
That's pretty young, but I guess Padme was also a senator at a very young age too.
That's right. Padme Amidala was only 14.
Was a queen and then she became a
But she was
senator.
queen. Yeah.
Elected Queen of Naboo at 14. And Leia was elected at age 18.
Mm.
Youngest Imperial Senator.
Mm.
Mhm.
So Garrera and the
Yeah,
Partisans.
It was really interesting to finally see him.
Yep,
this
finally
season.
retains.
Mm.
Well, he was referring to this group called the Human Cultists.
Mm.
Maybe that's what you were talking about. Oh, I don't know. Bringing together local cells from across the galaxy into a unified group. Hence the name Rebel Alliance, which is literally an alliance of disparate rebel groups.
Yeah, because I think at the time they were very much like each was their own separate
Yeah,
group.
all scattered, yeah.
And
Especially Saw Gerrera's one, which is more of the more extremist one.
And they weren't really working together, and I guess Luthen's aim is to try and change that because he believes obviously that they'll be more powerful together when they're working together.
Yeah, but that's the interesting thing. Luthen was talking to Saw Gerrera about all of these other rebel groups. But considering when the Rebel Alliance was eventually created in like Rogue One, Saw Gerrera's group was the only one who wasn't really part of the alliance.
Yeah, they were a bit more. They were still kind of hesitating to be involved.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Like he was led to sort of lead the Rebel Alliance at some point, it seems.
Mm.
Or the person to try to find the other groups.
Mm.
So that's a bit of a flip side there.
Yeah. Mm.
So
Yeah.
I think something must have happened in between that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to find out what really went on, as they kept on, kind of ramping up, their all these kind of actions that they're doing deliberately to provoke the Empire into overreacting. And
Yeah.
they'd already sort of, in a way, succeeded because Emperor Palpatine had already introduced this PORD legislation.
Hmm.
So
we're getting more politics.
We're getting a bit more politics in there, and so that's interesting to see, like, that they actually are doing it on purpose, that they want the Empire to become more and more aggressive in order to provoke more rebels, like to create more rebels, essentially, who will eventually overthrow the Empire. It's an interesting kind of strategy. Yeah.
Yeah, those were all the Easter eggs. Not too many.
Yeah, not too many.
That's still quite fun to go through and see all that. Yeah.
Yep. And the people on the outside of the prison, one of the friends is captured. Biz was the name, I think it was the girl.
Bix, yeah. So
Bix,
Oh yeah.
because
she was captured.
yeah, because she's seen as someone who's associated with
Aiding and abetting.
Caspian.
Yeah.
Pack was another one, and that's probably why they interrogated him as well. Yeah.
Yep, so we'll see what's gonna happen with those characters soon. Especially if we're thinking about the 3-episode arc for each one. Next week we'll find out a lot more.
Yeah.
Well, assuming that this pattern continues.
I think they'll
Yeah.
probably ramp up the action a little bit more, hopefully, in the next episode.
Yeah, considering that there are 4 episodes left now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because not much left in terms of, we're on episode 8, so yeah, we'll see what happens. How many tales, by the way, of the Jedi are
6,
there?
right?
6, okay.
Yeah, and
Are we
6.
doing are we doing 2
Uh,
with the Andor finale?
It depends how long the episode is, I think. But
Yeah.
maybe, yeah. Depends on how long the episode is.
Okay.
So who was the guy who killed himself in the prison? Who couldn't take it anymore?
He was from like table 3, like a different table to them.
Right. Yes. No one important, right?
It wasn't
Just some
anyone
random guy.
Yeah, it was just like a prisoner who's probably had enough, sort of thing,
Yeah, probably. And then all of the other inmates are like annoyed at that because they'd be short on people.
Yeah, of course, his table is not going to be happy with being one man down. Yeah.
Yeah. But that scene didn't really I didn't think it really meant anything.
No, well, it's just to show us that, hey, it's tough, man.
But it was also kind of random as well.
Yeah. I mean, they worked them hard, 12-hour shifts, and yeah, I mean, surely at some point you'll be so you just wanna can't take it anymore.
It's quite exhausting, and then he's got like 6 years, right, that he's sentenced to this sort of hard labor camp, and I'm wondering whether he's gonna try to attempt a prison break.
It's such a grim and serious Star Wars show, this one.
Yeah, it's
Probably the most
more
serious
mature.
Star Wars show I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, sure. Like this is definitely not something that I think that kids would really enjoy.
No.
Yeah, it's. I didn't think this is definitely not for kids,
It's for
especially if there's a lot of political stuff in there, which kids will not ever understand.
yeah. I think it's a bit, the storyline is a bit more adult. It's definitely, yeah. I mean, I find the politics though quite interesting because it really is such a contrast with how the Rebel Alliance operates versus how the Empire operates, and you can sort of really see the two different sides of that political spectrum. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the whole political side makes it a bit more interesting.
Mm.
Some people thought it was like a kind of a bummer because episodes 1, 2, 3 were also really political. Episodes 1, 2, 3 of Star Wars. That's why those didn't review too well to the start. But yeah, it's kind of a late bloomer type.
And do you notice that
movie.
there's hardly any aliens? It's all just humans.
I think they haven't gotten to that part yet. I mean, there were a few kind of alien-looking people.
Yeah, but they're trying to stay clear. I mean, this article here makes a good point. They're really trying to give this series such a grounded feel, that they're staying clear of aliens. Yeah.
But they still have some aliens.
I think
we'll probably see some, but I think it's a conscious choice not to show too many aliens.
Yeah. Maybe it's because also of just where it is. There seems to be a lot more of humans in those particular areas, and aliens are probably just not involved in this yet. Maybe we'll see that more once the Rebel Alliance comes together a bit more. Then we'll see the other rebel groups, in other episodes.
Yeah. And why is the prison all men? Where's all the women?
Yeah, I think they were probably segregated then as well.
Probably.
That way, yeah. It depends on the type of, because even like when they were separating the prisoners, they were all going to different areas, different prisons.
Yeah.
So it's like they were being kind of categorized.
Or like different like cells. Yeah.
So yeah, they were probably put into like a different prison camp, probably.
Overall, yeah, the episode was fairly okay, but again, it was a bit slow.
Yeah, still.
Still a bit slow, yeah. But it's not too bad, I think there were other episodes before that were a bit slower. So I think
Yeah, definitely. Like the whole Adani thing was super slow.
yeah, when they were just like planning it and talking about it, that was really slow. But this one is a bit more interesting, I think, than the slower episodes of the previously had.
Yeah, definitely a bit more interesting, especially since we're seeing some characters retaining.
Yeah. I mean, definitely Garrera is a plus in this episode.
And I'm also wondering what Andy Serkis's character is doing.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't bring him back for no reason.
Yeah. I wonder if he'll have a hand in this prison break, maybe.
Maybe not. He seems to be like the leader in there, so maybe he would want that to happen.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have as long to go as the others. He's only got a few days. Well, 249 days is quite a lot, but still, like less than a year. So I think he sort of just wants to stay focused on just getting through it until he's finally released.
Unless it's going to be like what they're saying right now as rumors, that he'll become Snoke.
Mm. That
Maybe.
would be an interesting transformation, though, because
That would be an interesting transformation since there's many years in
Yeah.
between Andor and Episode 7.
and I'm thinking, how can he be Snoke? Because he's not a Jedi. He's not a Sith. Like he doesn't have that background. Like he
Oh,
doesn't have the Force. So why would they make him General Snoke?
Circus.
Like
But the thing is, we don't
it's just
know his background.
What is
yeah,
Snoke?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is obviously speculation just because the same actors playing both, but it's not likely.
yeah.
It's not likely,
Mm.
but if you consider even Emperor Palpatine,
Yes.
no one knew that he was a Sith.
Mm.
Like we knew, but no
Yeah.
one in the Star Wars universe knew
Mm.
at the time that he was a Sith until he revealed himself in Episode 3.
Yeah.
Even though we knew all along.
Yes.
Man, imagine Snoke used to be a prison boss.
That would be really funny, isn't it? That he was Andor's prison.
Yep.
Yeah.
There are a lot of like rumors and speculations out there, which is really ridiculous. One of the most random speculations of who's the mastermind behind the Sith is Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, yeah, that's just
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. There's some really wacky ones out there.
Yeah, but that one actually makes sense if you look at it really closely. That one actually does make sense that he was probably the mastermind.
Mm.
Like, who was the one who led the Jedi to the Gungan city, convinced them to go to Naboo, convinced the Queen to go get the Gungans to create the army, the one who became a senator to create the army, the clone army. Like, really? Come on.
Jar Jar,
Yeah, because
Jar
Jar Jar
Jar's,
was the one
the
who
big
like,
bad.
he's a big bad.
the
He's
true
He's a
the
true
true
villain.
mastermind behind everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was the one who talked to create the clone army.
Mm.
He convinced everyone. Really crazy, but it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Funny. Anyways, back to
Yes.
Andor.
And our score.
Yes. So what's our score for this?
Yeah, I'll go first this time. So I'll I don't know, 6.5. To me, this is a little bit of a filler. Actually, a lot of them are, but but you do get some insight into how the prison camps work and the conditions and stuff. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
But I guess the high points are, Saw Gerrera returning, and also Andy Serkis in another role. Yeah, hopefully, next episode we get like a payoff.
Yeah.
For all this build up, but we'll see. 6.5.
Jeff, you still there?
Jeff? What's your score, Jeff?
Oh yeah, I'll give it. Yeah, I'll give it around 7 as well. Yeah, I think it's not too bad. Yeah, I'll give it a 7. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. 7. 7 from Jeff.
7 from Jeff.
6.5 for me as well. Like it's the same for me. I think as Marcus. And yeah, it's got some interesting kind of exposition in there and interesting background information. We get to meet Saw Gerrera for the first time in this series, so that's a plus. But otherwise, there isn't really much that's going on, in this episode again. So that's kind of like if there had been more action, then I would have given it like 7.5. But there just wasn't really any action. So yeah.
Yeah, they're just repeatedly trying to show us how bad the Empire is.
Or
Well,
we just
we already know, you know, like
we know it's
yeah.
bad, but we sort of didn't know like that that it was like how slowly, I guess, and insidiously they were
How brutal, yeah.
doing that. That it like it was actually a slow build up. It wasn't like they just suddenly took over one day.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't a
the process. It was a process.
conquest.
It's not a one overnight thingy.
Yeah, like you can see like how tyranny actually kind of builds. Yeah. And how much people's freedoms were being compromised and sort of taken away. But it as a slow process. Like you could see that in the senators' party, like how they were talking about that, you know.
Yeah.
So I found that interesting.
Yeah, it was an interesting episode. So as Steph has said, yeah, it's kind of a slow build up of the bit political side as well, which is something, yep, again, no kid will easily understand. But it actually does show it's not just a full blown out imperial overall just super bad. It does seem like they do also have some sort of reasoning behind it as well as a political standpoint. Like some things you think are like super bad, but sometimes there's a reasoning behind the bad, which you might not even get eventually as well. An example that you could think of would be like Marvel's Thanos. He actually had a good point of like wiping half of everyone because of resources. So you could actually think of that in a way. Like Thanos one is more extreme. The Imperial one seems to be more of like a step-by-step strategy. So it's kind of interesting seeing the more political side of creating the empire. Like it's still on its building blocks. It's not like a full-blown empire yet. And I guess even they are not fully ready as an empire yet, even though it is the Imperial's empire.
Yeah, and you can see like even like Darth Vader and Anakin aren't mentioned at all yet in this series.
Yeah, and you hear a lot more of Palpatine, who is the Senate.
Yeah.
So everything is still going around the whole Senate. And you see a lot of the politicians. And then we get the whole Rebel Alliance as well. Like they're all segregated, not really combined. So seeing everything like come together, like even though it's kind of slow, it is interesting. But I'd still give this episode a 6. I do want a bit more action. And actually, usually okay with slow episodes if it builds up well, but this show is just overdoing the slow.
I think it's just a little too slow. Yeah,
they're overdoing it.
IGN actually agrees with Jono. Okay, this one it hits its lowest point. As a series, also hits the lowest point. More concerned with purely showing how bad the Empire is, rather than moving the plot forward. It's just about showing the inner workings, the details.
It's all exposition at this point. Sort of, there's a lot of these kind of episodes, but you kind of almost feel like you're watching a documentary because of how slow it is.
Yeah.
but
if you think of Andy Serkis's character, he's introduced in Andor episode 8. Andy Serkis's character dies in episode 8 Star Wars.
Yeah. Interesting.
Is there a connection there?
Maybe it was just a fun coincidence.
Maybe it was a fun coincidence, but we never know.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I think that they really could have edited this a little bit better so that, you know, if you're gonna have 12 episodes, maybe you could, you know, the pacing could be a little bit, you know, faster for those episodes.
I completely agree.
Or they could shorten you know, certain episodes, or you know, so that instead of having 12, like maybe, you know, you can still pack it into 6 and you wouldn't lose too much, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like again, when we were talking when She-Hulk was still around, how much did She-Hulk pack in for like something that was like less than 30 minutes?
Yeah.
And Andor spent like the whole 45 minutes just on this one planet doing like absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It kind of shows like what you could do with like time,
Yeah.
how much they could fill, how much story they could tell.
Yeah.
And Andor just decided to just waste 45 minutes on the planet, just making a plan and walking on the planet.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're done.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So I think, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, the next episode will be more action oriented. Here's
Yep.
something.
And we'll see another episode of Tales of the Jedi as well.
Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah.